Red's inexplicable power over the wind comes from her mother. Whenever Red Byrd is scared or angry, the wind picks up, and being placed in foster care, moving from family to family, tends to keep her skies stormy. Red knows she has to learn to control it, but can't figure out how. This time the wind blows Red into the home of the Grooves, a quirky couple who run a petting zoo, complete with a dancing donkey and a giant tortoise. With their own curious gifts, Celine and Jackson Groove seem to fit like a puzzle piece into Red's heart. But just when Red starts to settle into her new life, a fresh storm rolls in, one she knows all too well, her mother. For so long, Red has longed to have her mom back in her life, and she's quickly swept up in the vortex of her mother's chaos. Now, Red must discover the possible in the impossible if she wants to overcome her own tornadoes and find the family she needs. Here is a preview of All the Impossible Things by Lindsay, Lackey. The wind came from her mother. Some moms pass along their freckles or their laugh or their flat feet. Red's mother shared air currents and chaos, clouds that twisted between earth and sky like a wet rag being wrung out. But Red kept the wind under her skin. She had to. The more she swallowed down her own storms, however, the angrier the sky above her became. Though the day had started clear and crisp, the sky was now dark with rain clouds that churned above the quiet Denver neighborhood. One minute, leaves were crunching under the feet of school children. Jack-o'-lanterns smiled from porch steps, their faces so freshly carved that their skin was not yet spongy or speckled with mold. The next minute the air hissed and whistled, and every leaf was sucked up, 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 twirling and spinning. Carved pumpkins rolled and bounced and shattered, their pulpy flesh smearing like paint against the sidewalks. In a small living room that smelled of air freshener and dirty socks, Red stood, her thoughts as deep and dark and full of holes as the pockets of her coat. She did not look at the swollen-faced woman who constantly referred to herself as the mom. The mom said, "It's not easy being the mom to 3 boys, you know." To 3 boys, but not to Red. The mom looked at Red, then at her own hands. Her fingernails were a bright slash of yellow. Red's hair tickled her cheeks like tears, but her eyes were dry. Outside, the storm swelled as Red held her breath. No, no, no. The mom glanced out the window toward the thrashing trees. Her eyes darted back to Red, then to Ms. Anders, Red's social worker. "It just isn't a good time to bring a foster child into the family." Red released her breath a little, then pressed her trembling lips together. The wind howled, and the mom flinched. Ms. Anders put a hand on Red's shoulder. "Of course," she said. Her voice was as taut and charged as an electric wire. "All set, Red?" Red nodded. All her belongings fit into an orange backpack that, thanks to the mom's 3 boys, smelled like peanut butter and dog vomit. Still, a smelly backpack was better than the plastic bag she used to carry. "We are so sorry about this. Like I said before." The mom's eyes were a little too close together, making her whole face look pinched. "It's the mom's responsibility to protect her children. Sometimes things just aren't a good fit. A familiar ache started between Red's ribs, but then anger, sharp and slick, snaked through her, burying the hurt. Across the room, the pages of an open magazine lifted, flapped, and fluttered. Red clenched her fists in her pockets. No, no, no! She couldn't let her wind out, no matter how much it boiled beneath her skin. A crash of thunder split the air, and the mom yelped. Miss Anders pursed her black cherry lips, her fingers tightening on Red's shoulder ever so slightly. Come on, Red. Red hiked up her backpack and stepped from the house without looking back. Her caseworker let the screen door slam as she exited. She didn't acknowledge the gray-green clouds that had bruised the clear blue of the morning sky. Ms. Anders yanked open the rear door of her sedan. The fabric of her skirt was a snapping flag around her knees. Red climbed into the familiar car. As always, there was a package of peach gummy candy on the seat for her. Affection for her caseworker flickered in her stomach. The mom opened the screen door, leaned out. We really did try. Red hugged her knees to her chest, tucking the candy into her coat pocket. Fat, angry raindrops left dark spots on Ms. Anders' gray blazer as she ran around to the driver's side. She shook her short, tightly curled hair, and Red could smell powdery hair product under the sharp, cold scent of the wind. Ms. Anders pulled out of the driveway and leaned forward to look up through the windshield. The wipers moved frantically against the glass. She clucked her tongue. Red pushed away a clump of hair that was stuck to her damp forehead. Her storm still thrummed in her bones, whirled between her ribs and toes and ears, as familiar as her own breath. It wanted out, wanted to join the angry sky. She couldn't let it. This weather, Ms. Anders said. Someone's gonna get hurt. She shook her head at the shame of it. Red wanted to say, someone's already been hurt. Instead, she said nothing. She just leaned her head against the window and watched the sky have its say. And this has been a preview of All the Impossible Things.